Hello everybody, welcome back to the Vintage Workshop. My name is Jeff Heath. Today I'm going to do a video with you guys on making a grinding station. We're going to be switching gears from plane making. A little bit over a week ago I was working hard at making a bunch of plane orders, and I actually broke another float, and it's a critical one because it's my bed float. It's the one that I use for bedding irons, and you really need that in order to do a good job getting the irons nice and flat and tight to the beds. At any rate, I buy my floats from Lee Nielsen, and I had contacted them and placed another order for another one, and they sent me an email back telling me that those are on back order, so it's going to be about 4 or 5 weeks before I have another one. So while I'm waiting for that tool, I'm going to continue making and getting a lot of planes prepared for up to that point where I need that tool to finish up. But in the meantime, I'm at a critical point in the workshop, and I need to get something organized better than it presently is. My grinding station is really not a grinding station. I've got stuff kind of scattered around in different places all over the workshop, and I purchased a new belt grinder last year to go ahead and help me with getting profiles ground, as well as a small grinder that I've had for a really long time, and using it for creating the profiles on molding planes and the hollows and stuff. And the setup on that tool just really isn't all that great, and I've been just dealing with it, and it's time to do something about that. I need to create a better tool rest for it so that I can be more accurate and less freehand and more accurate with bedding angles and stuff like that. So it's just overall, it's going to be a much better setup, and I'm going to have the ability to have everything all together on one bench. Smaller, but kind of similar to my workbench. But the way I'm going to build it, and you guys will see throughout the process, is that I'm going to build it so that I can move it around the shop with a pallet jack. All of my machines in this shop are pretty heavy, as you guys have seen. My workbench weighs somewhere between 600 and 700 pounds. So picking things up and moving them around is just not an option with the type of machinery and stuff that I have in the shop. Most of the things here are well in excess of 1,000 pounds, some of them in that 4,000 to 5,000 to 6,000 pound range. So having a pallet jack as my mobile base is pretty much how I move stuff around. So being able to move this into position when I'm using it, and then being able to tuck it away up against the wall, out of the way when I'm not using it, is something that's very desirable to me. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and crack one of these stations that I've been wanting to build for quite a while out, and I'm going to walk you guys through the process. As you see sitting here at the bench, I've already got a nice big slab of red oak. This is 1 3/8 inches thick. This is actually what I cut out of a big glue up that I had sitting in the shop for 6 or 7 years. A good friend of mine was moving out of his house. He had actually glued this up as 1.5 inches thick red oak, and he was going to make a little workbench down in his basement. He did the glue up, and he had it leaning against the wall for, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 years, never did anything with it. And when we moved him from his old place to his new place, he told me to take it because he said he was never going to get around to doing anything with it. It sat in the corner in my wood stack for probably the last 6 years, and I finally decided to go ahead and use it. So what you're looking at here is, I don't have video of gluing it up, but you guys saw that already with the panel, the wall panel video. So this was already a large wide panel that was glued up. I basically decided on a size that works really well for the grinders that are going to be sitting on top of it, and that's 42 inches in length by 19¼ inches wide. And the reason why it's 19¼ is because this board was glued up at 19½, and it wasn't straight on the edges. So by the time I cleaned it up, I had 19¼ inches left over. Once again, I'm going to be using what I have in leftover pieces. This is not something that's going out to a customer. This is just a utility workbench that's going to be used in the shop. So what I've got here is a bunch of scraps left over from various projects. What I had was a big, thick, heavy slab that was about 16 inches wide of some locust that was sitting around. So what I did off camera, because I already showed you the joiner, and I'm going to show you some more of this later on in this video, but I went ahead and prepared all the stock. So what I have here before me is 4 pieces of stock that I squared up that are made out of the honey locust, and I'll give you sizes and whatnot to fit the size of the bench that I'm going to build. But I got this all squared up, and what I did here was the sizes weren't really critical. What mattered most to me was that, number one, for joinery's sake, they're all completely squared up. Number two, they're all of equal size, so that when I do the joinery on each leg is exactly the same. This is going to be mortise and tenon joinery, so we want to make sure that all of our cuts are in exactly the same place so it's repeatable. And number three, basically letting the wood dictate what I could get out of it. So what I was able to get out of it was 4 nice long leg stocks. These are 2 15/16 inch, just under 3 inches in one dimension, and I made them a little skinnier in the other dimension, 2 5/8, so that they would fit inside the base, which is going to be some cut bases here for where the legs go into, just like a typical workbench, and also a top. And these 2 pieces here are not honey locust. These are actually soft maple out of a similar hunk of leftover that I had, and this is what the table is going to be attached to. So without further ado, we're going to get going on this. The very first thing I'm going to do is move you guys over to the drill press. What I like to do is I like to have my bases, the feet of the base, have 2 spots, one at each end, that are supporting the bench, instead of having one long flat piece of wood, because that on an uneven concrete floor can sometimes tend to rock. It's a lot easier to level out and get a bench nice and sturdy if it's sitting up on 2 little slightly raised pedestals. So what we've got is we've got our base stock here, which is the exact same dimensions as the leg stock, and it's honey locust. And what I've done is I've measured in, because what I want to have is like a 3-inch square raised tab. So what I'm going to do is remove a 1/4 inch off of each side, and basically have a little bit of a, for lack of a better term, a little bit of a cloud lift raised inside each one, so that each end of the leg is sitting firmly on the ground and not a whole large piece that's rocking on the floor. So I've measured in 3 1/4 inches because I'm going to drill a 1/2 inch hole. And the best way to do this is to gang 2 square boards together, clamp them together like you see, and then take it over the drill press, drill a hole at this end, drill a hole at that end, and then run over to the bandsaw and basically remove the waste. So I'm going to move you over to the drill press, and we're going to get this done. So what I've got here is just the piece sitting on top of a piece of scrap, and I'm going to drill a complete through hole. This is a 1/2 inch brad point bit, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the drill press on, and let's get this. Let's get these 2 holes drilled. You always want to put a piece of scrap underneath so that you don't get blowout out the bottom side. And make sure you line your drill bit up with the hole in the table, so you don't put an arc of shame on your drill press. So we got one nice clean hole there, and as you can see, no blowout on the bottom side. That's just a little bit of fuzz there, and that's important because we don't want to chip out the ends. So now we get it lined up. And go. In case you were wondering, this is an old 1967 Craftsman 150. Drill press. All right, So we got that done. I'll take you back over to the bench. We're going to get some lines marked up, and we're going to head over to the bandsaw and cut the waste out. Alright, I've got this sawn out now, so what I've done is left it just a little bit shy of the line. We'll go ahead and cut the other one, and then we will go ahead and take a hand plane and clean this up straight to the line. Alright, one of the things I want to do here while all the pieces are still square is lay out all the joinery. You always want to get everything laid out on your parts while all the parts are still square, because that's the easiest time to go ahead and do that. So one of the things I do want to do, just to make these just a little bit decorative, give them a little pizzazz, is to radius the ends on all four, the uppers and the lowers for the base. So I kind of laid it out on this particular piece. You can see it. I'm using the maple ones because I think it's a little easier for you guys to see in the video. But what I want to do, and I'll show you how I do one, and then I'll just go ahead and do the rest off camera, is I want to have the reveal drop down 1/4 of an inch and then radius out to the edge. So basically what we want to do is we want to measure the distance, and this is 2 5/8. So basically that tells me in order to have a 1/4 inch drop, I got to be at 2 3/8. So I take and measure over 2 3/8. Take my square, mark a line, and then just go ahead and measure down 1/4 of an inch. And that's going to be where the radius, the arc starts. So now I got to find my my spot where to draw that arc for the compass. So I do the exact same thing to the other end, 2 3/8, and take my compass, which has got a sharp point on one end and a pencil lead on the other. And this just gives you a nice, clean line. You can also, you know, sometimes I look around the shop for something like a water bottle or, you know, anything that closely matches the radius. But in this particular instance, it's just as easy to draw the arc with a compass. So that gets us set for the arches. I'm going to go ahead and lay out all the corners. One of the other things that I did while I'm here is you can probably see the lines running down. First I marked off the center line of the part, because you always want to make sure that everything's centered in this particular instance. And what I'm doing is I'm putting 2-inch tenons that are 2 inches wide by 2 inches deep down into the base and up into the top, and also a 1/2 inch wide. So you draw your center line, and then you can mark out your 1/2 inch mortise at both ends to the appropriate spots. We're going to go ahead, and once we get all this laid out, we're going to take this over to the mortiser, and you guys haven't seen that machine in action yet, so I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that to you. And we're going to go ahead and get it all set up with the 1/2 inch mortising bit, and I'll show you guys how we cut mortises with that machine. Okay, so here we are all set up with the mortiser. I went ahead and got my setup all done, and I took a piece of cut off scrap and tested it just to make sure I was getting the correct depth. It's always a wise thing to do to make sure you've got the depth and the correct setup and the good hold down clamp going. on the job. So we've got that all done. This particular mortiser is a 1927 Oliver 91D. It's basically a foot stomper, as we call it, which is, it's not an auto feed. You have to manually operate the plunge up and down of the chisel. And that's a square chisel that's got a round drill bit sized for it inside. This particular bit is a Forest City bit. And what I'm doing here is I'm making a square mortise that's 1/2 inch wide and 2 inches deep and 2 inches wide. So we've got lots of them to do, so let's get to it. Move it over a little bit and plunge it again. All right, there we go. This particular machine, and most of them do, it has a little blower nozzle, which hopefully you can see right here. And what it does is the motor's got a little impeller on it that blows air, which kind of, as you can see, just blows the chips out just far enough away so that you can see what you're doing. It doesn't do a great job. You really don't want them blowing all over the place anyway, but at least it gets it out of the way so you can finish the job. So I'm going to go ahead and finish batch mortising all the parts, and then I will bring you back for the next step. Here's a full shot of the mortiser in action.